Browns. We have talked Guardians. We have yet to talk Cleveland Cavaliers until right now. The Cavaliers have an open two-way spot available, and I'm going to make the case for Cleveland to sign Enrique Freeman, the Cleveland native who just had his two-way offer with the Indiana Pacers withdrawn the other day, meaning he is now eligible to sign with another team. I'm going to make the case for why he should be the Cavaliers' third and final two-way spot. When you look at his situation real quick with the Pacers, he wasn't let go for poor performance. He wasn't let go because he's a bad kid. He didn't fit. With all the injuries Indiana sustained this summer, the Halliburton injury, there are a couple other smaller name guys in their system who got hurt. They need to go with a more guard-oriented two-way rotation in case they sustain more injuries. It was a numbers game for Enrique Freeman, who had an incredibly productive summer league, which is important. You know, those are the games a two-way guy is supposed to dominate. And Freeman, well, I don't know if I'd say dominates the right word, but he played incredibly well. In 14 G League games last year, he was hurt for a little bit of the season. He averaged 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 36.2% from three on nearly 4 3-point attempts per game, 54% from the floor. He's Akron's greatest basketball product in the history of their program. He's from Cleveland. And when you look at the Cavs roster, the one thing they don't really have right now is a plethora of front court depth. Not a ton of guys you can trust to go get a rebound. Not a ton of junkyard dog. I hate to use that phrase. It brings back J.B. Bickerstaff connotations. But a bunch of junkyard dog kind of dudes, just scrappers, high energy, Anderson Varejao light-esque players, which is the role I think Enrique Freeman can fill in a two-way contract situation. He's a bit of a tweener. That's probably the biggest knock on him. He's not big enough to be a real big, and he's not small enough to be a traditional wing. But at his size, if he's going to shoot 36% from three, and we know G League three-point stats from the Amanda Bates experiment isn't necessarily the greatest translator of three-point shooting from one level to the next. He has a lot of skills that interest me, and on a two-way flyer situation, Jason and G, I think for Cleveland, considering the other options available, bringing a guy who was the 50th pick in last year's draft, one pick later than they took Tyrese Proctor this year, would make a ton of sense to see what he's got left. With a full healthy season in the G League, I think this guy could eventually work his way into being a guy you could at least consider for an NBA roster spot down the road.
Here's my bar to clear for local guys. It's very simple. Yes or no answer. If Enrique Freeman was born in Poughkeepsie and went to St. Bonaventure, would you still want him?
Yeah.
Okay, then do it.
Oh, yeah, I'm in.
Because it's all, anytime you hear local guy, it's like, okay, do you want him because he's good, or do you want him because you saw him play in high school and college? There's a huge difference.
I did see him in Akron. I never saw him at St. Benedictine where he went. But I just think that the skill set, and you could watch this from the G League last year. This was his career high at 22 points in this game. He's just one of those like weird, wonky, physical but a little undersized bigs.
Yeah.
And he plays a lot like Varejao with a little bit of a three-point shot. And I think the Cavs roster, if you look at what they lack right now, and I don't think he's NBA ready by any means at the moment. And by the way, the three-point shot looks pretty smooth. That's him from the corner. It's just something they don't have on their roster anywhere else, which is why I think Cleveland or not, worth a flyer.
You know what? I'm always down for underdog. I like to find diamonds in the rough. Matter of fact, I would be out here making G League swaps. I'll take him on my squad. Let's do it.
Ironically enough, Indiana loved Amani Bates.
Really?
I can say that on good authority. Indiana, at least a fraction or a portion, someone pretty high up in their organization was a big Amani Bates fan. So I wonder if they're looking for some wing scoring and a little more guard play as opposed to a big like Freeman, if that could be a landing spot for Amani, even though they didn't sign him before Summer League, which probably would have been an indicator of their significant interest. But we'll see. Enrique Freeman has his camp here this weekend on Saturday, giving back to the community, which we always like to see.